and a way to get started. So I'm going to show you some supplies that have helped me have a more successful garden. So to start things off, if you're doing some things by seed, this organic seed starter is so helpful. And the difference between this soil and regular soil is that this soil is really fluffy and fine, and it's lightweight, so it helps the seedlings grow. So if you're going to be growing things like, let's see here, kale, tomatoes, pumpkin or squash, winter squash, these would do really well starting indoors because it's so hot in Houston. So considering doing those from seed. And this is a nice little system here. You can remove them individually. You can water from the bottom because sometimes seedlings are so fragile. You don't want to put water directly over them. Sometimes it's nice to put water underneath and let the roots soak up from the bottom. So I'll have this set up, and then depending on the instructions on the back of, let's do kale. Kale's going to be a big fall crop that we're going to grow. So on the back, you're gonna see instructions, and so you have when to sow outdoors. So you could go directly into the garden bed, or if you wanted to start early, I love doing some things by seed earlier. So you could see that when to start, recommended 4 to 6 weeks before your average last frost. So that would be for spring, and then for a fall crop, start 12 to 14 weeks before your average first fall frost date. Okay, so depending on your area, you could figure that out. And speaking of area, so for the Houston area, what I like to do is I like to plan out what I'm going to grow and when. So for fall, I've actually come up with a way to organize my planting by months. So you can see August, I have that planned out already. We're in the middle of July. So something like this is going to be really helpful for me to know when to sow. So for example, we're in the middle of July. August 1st is right around the corner. So I'm going to find things like pumpkin seeds. I'm going to make sure to order those that I know will do well here in the Houston climate. Southern peas, winter squash, lima beans, bush beans, sweet corn, those types of crop we're going to be focusing on now. And then coming up in September, we're also thinking about, and those are some of the ones to come. And then October, November, always excited about carrots and the lettuces and garlics, cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli. Those do really well in the fall. The other part of planting that I think is really important is to lay out your beds. So these are the 4 beds I have currently. And let's take a look from my plan to what I have here. So this is what's left of our spring crop. We still have tomatoes going, so I don't want to pull those yet. Now these beds I am starting to clear out. Those were, I had zucchini growing, I had more tomatoes, cucumber, beans, a lot of those things are starting to come out, and I am going to be adding compost and soil. So these are my 4 beds, 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's my plan. So I have tomatoes right there, and those are probably going to stay. I have basil, that's gonna stay. I have jalapenos, those go on and on and on. In that bed I have loofah. And loofah is another crop that keeps on giving and giving and giving. I mean, it won't be until January, February where I clean out that bed. So these beds likely are going to stay through to late fall, maybe even early winter. Now these I want to clear out completely, and so here's my vision. I'm going to put direct sow, that means straight into the soil. Carrots, kale, kale is going to be sown by seed indoors. And let's see, so direct sow will be carrots. I'll probably direct sow parsley because I want to grow a lot of it. Spinach, I'm going to try, some of the lettuces I'm going to try direct sow. And then things that like kale, I'm going to do. Peas I might do in little little seed pods. So these are companion plants that grow well together. So you want to make sure that what you put next to one crop next to another crop, they are friends and they go well together. So I did a little digging online and just made sure that everything goes together. So I highly recommend doing that. Now, building beds. It's important to consider where you build your beds. So these beds are going to get at least 8 hours of sun. This yard goes from east to west, so that's fortunate for me because I get most of my sunlight on these beds, so I don't have to worry about that. Oh, hello grow bag. This is a grow bag, by the way. Also nice for potatoes. Sweet potatoes are growing right now and doing really well. So these garden beds are made from cedar. They are 4x8. And I put them on these bricks, which I think is really important for Houstonians because we get a lot of rain. And so that's gonna help the cedar last longer and not get wood rot from the bottom. So the soil is really low. I'm gonna have to get it taller. This is the first time I've planted from them. And so everything's gonna come out here, except this is important to note too. So if you did a spring garden, this is arugula, and all of these little pods have seeds in them, so I'm going to save these pods, and I'm going to keep the seeds and then use them in early winter and then plant those. Same thing goes for a lot of other plants like cilantro. It goes to coriander seed, and you can direct sow all of those seeds. So I know that was a fast video, but maybe some little hints, tips, tricks to get you started with a successful fall garden.